Hi, my name is Lawrence Laidlow from the Pitch Perfect podcast. We're developing basic introductions and interviews with industry-leading experts within the Hull and North Humber area. And today we have a really special guest, Tova Lill. And without any further ado, Tova, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I absolutely would. I am Tova. I am the business sales executive for VIP Group in Hull. We're a business solution provider running for just over 30 years. It's just been our anniversary. Lots of experience behind us, doing a bit of everything. We're business solution providers. We find the problems and we help you fix them across mobile, energy, solar, anything that you think is needed within your business. We come in and we help make your business requirements a solution.
Do people have to have a problem before they come to you?
They don't have to have a problem at all. However, what we do find, especially in the telecom space, that it's so constantly advancing that 9 times out of 10, the people that are coming to us are, I've got this old landline from 10 years ago and we need it replaced, or whatever it is. Usually it's just the technology not working anymore, or wanting something new.
Okay, you want to look at my house? I'm a dinosaur. I've got a mobile. That's it. That's
in my desk drawer in the office. I've got a Nokia brick in there.
Oh, right, fair enough. So what's your role then? Are you sales director, sales account holder?
Business sales executive. So I don't hold any accounts of my own currently. My sole focus is new business, helping VIP grow. So everything that's new and fresh, and speaking to new people that maybe don't know who we are or have heard of us, but haven't really picked up that phone and given us a call. That's my job. To be that face of VIP and say hello, speak to us, be the happy one on the end of the phone.
You've got to be happy. You've got to, especially in sales. Nobody talks to miserable salespeople, and I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, we've all had days like that, Lawrence.
Let's talk about prospecting then. If your job is to reach out and bring in new clients and make people aware of VIP, what's your biggest strategy for prospecting?
Prospecting, in terms of finding prospects, is the best way that I've found, because you can get lost in the sea of businesses, especially in B2B sales. There are so many businesses out there that you can just get a bit lost in. You start on one strategy and you move on to the next because that's not working, and you get lost and you've forgotten to call people. Then you start doubling up on work. So for me, it's more finding an area that's maybe a little bit easier to travel to, or further out if I want to plan a couple of days there, finding an area and finding the businesses within that area, and tackling that as a one-er. Saying we're based in Hull, so there's say a business park that we are actually on, looking at that business park and going, right, these are all the businesses on the business park. Let me see if I can go in and grab a coffee, or let me see if I can, just pop by and say hello, and maybe drop something off to say, look, this is who we are and what we do. We're across the road, come chat to us, or whatever it is. It's finding an area and tackling that area, seeing what you get out of it, getting to a point where you can't do anything more in that area and moving on to the next.
Fantastic. I did that 35 years ago. I would walk onto a business park and introduce myself to the first person I saw and ask if they could help me. Humans cannot resist the word help. And I'd say, would you help me find the person I need to talk to? So is that kind of what you do now?
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, it's changed a lot in the 35 years. It's not a case of, you still absolutely can go around a park and knock on doors and stuff like that. And I have done, and I know the people within VIP use that tactic. Sometimes that doesn't work. It really depends who's behind that door as to what tactic is going to work. So chances are I will absolutely go and knock on doors if I can't get them on the phone or whatever, as another avenue for getting in and seeing them and introducing yourself. However, I will use phone calls, emails, LinkedIn, everything else. And then I will be, leave them a voicemail and say, look, I'm in the area on this day, can we meet up? And that gets a lot more feedback and a lot more responses, because they're like, oh, she's in the area anyway. She's not traveling to me. I'm not traveling to her specifically. And it gets a lot more responses. So the sales is all about juggling the processes and the techniques that you've seen and heard about, and things that have worked in the past versus what work now, but also your own spin. I find door-to-door sales, for me, don't overly work too much unless it is somebody behind the door that is really receptive.
Do you struggle with gatekeepers, or do you have strategies to get past a gatekeeper?
So for me, a gatekeeper is just another person in the business. And when you are doing business-to-business sales, you have to get out of the mindset that the only person you are going to and need to speak to is the decision maker. The decision maker, director of a business, or whoever it is you're reaching out to, their job and their role isn't just made up of them. They have an entire team supporting them. So a gatekeeper essentially is just doing their job. They've been told, keep sales out. It's the job of a gatekeeper. I've done the job myself. I've been a receptionist. I've been in admin. I've done that job myself. Where the ones that, speaking from experience, the ones that were more likely to get through are the ones that built that rapport with me as the first initial respondents. So for you're calling up, that receptionist, that gatekeeper is going to be ultimately the person that is going to decide whether or not you are going to speak to the decision maker or not.
Okay.
If you call up with a mentality of, this isn't who I need to speak to, I need to speak to so-and-so who's the CEO, the finance director or something, you are not going to get through. It's just not the way it works. But sitting and having a conversation with the receptionist, or, I call them on a Monday and they say, do you know what, he's actually in a meeting. And I'm like, I've tried him a few times, and have that conversation. The next time you call, they know your name, they know who you are, they know who you're calling for. You're more likely, the more you press, to get through and speak to who you need to speak to. When you're going in, it's all about holding a relationship with the entire team now, especially when you've got people running a company. Their team is what makes the company. You need to be treating them right.
So you have a conversation with the gatekeeper receptionist rather than just saying, is John in?
Absolutely. Yeah. Tell them your name, tell them why you're calling. Don't shy away from the sales conversation. It's the dreaded call, it's a sales call. Don't shy away from that. Just let them know. They know anyway, you know it. Have that conversation with them, and the more you speak to them, the more you'll get to know them. They're like slipping a dog's name every now and then when you call up the next time, you can ask about the dog, and build that rapport with them.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned something in our phone call last week about a sales stigma, or a stigma associated with sales. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how you handled it in your early sales career?
Yeah, so I have found that with sales, as sales has moved on, there have been a lot of changes into the receptiveness of people to a sales call. So when I started out in sales 6 years ago, even then people were a lot more receptive to sales calls. It's the way the world works. Unless you've got somebody selling your product, an advert on TV, you're scrolling through TikTok and someone's sponsored by a product or whatever it is. These are all salespeople. These are all sales tactics. The world continues to spin because of these sales tactics. A cold call, a warm call, whatever it is just another sales tactic. But when it comes to adverts and things like that, people are fine. It's just part of daily life. When it comes to sales now, people have a vision of what a salesperson is, right? You call up there instantly, guards are up, not letting you through. I don't want to be sold to. I know better. You know, we've all seen it, and that there is an absolute stigma around salespeople just being greedy and money hungry, and you know, whatever it is, there's absolutely that stigma behind it. So when you are making cold calls now, they aren't always working because people are less likely to want to speak to you because they don't do the sales calls.
Right.
So it becomes then really, really tricky as a salesperson to get through and take away that stigma, which is why you have to rely more on the rapport building side. You know, I need them to trust me and trust that I'm an expert in what I'm doing and what I'm saying, to be able to actually speak to them. Getting over that sales stigma is one of the hardest things, especially on a 3-minute cold call when you've got them off the cuff. You've got a pitch there, you don't necessarily want to read off the pitch or whatever it is that you're doing. 3 minutes isn't a long time to build that rapport. So for me, the cold calls, and a large majority of what I do is cold calls. It's less about the end goal of that initial cold call is not to sell them a product.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult mentality to get yourself out of, because ultimately we want to sell. That's our job. That's how we earn our income. We want to sell. So getting out of that mentality of I need to sell something by the end of this cold call, it's just not going to work. So I changed my mindset. And now when I'm making a cold call and I've got that 3 minutes, all I want to do is book a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
A meeting, you've got dedicated time from them, even if it's a 15-minute meeting, you have then got an agreement with them. They are spending their time with you. You know, it's more dedicated. Then you've not caught them off the cuff. You've not done anything quick or trying to get a quick, easy sale. You are showing them that you are interested in their business. You are saying, let's take time out of our diaries. I don't want to sell you anything now. I don't want to sell you a product that you aren't going to be happy with in a couple of months' time. You know, let's get that meeting booked. Let's look at it in further detail. And that's where the difference between a good salesperson and a great salesperson becomes somebody that's willing to take out that I need to sell something by the end of this phone call to, okay, this is going to be a bit of a longer process, but let's get a meeting booked. Let's sit down, let's talk, let's have a coffee, you know, take them out for a pint if you really want to. You know, it's whatever it is, it's getting out of that, I need to sell something.
Okay. So what you could say is, to get rid of the sales stigma, stop trying to sell. Build a rapport, let it happen naturally.
Absolutely. Sales is a mind game for yourself. You know, it's constantly changing and evolving, and you know, things that you have used previously that have worked previously are not going to work in a few months' time. You've constantly got to be changing your approach and changing your own mindset to be able to evolve with the industry.
I agree completely and utterly, and well said. I think from a, you know, you say you've been in sales for 6 years. I'm coming up to my 36th year in sales, and it's all I've ever done since I left the Royal Air Force. And I think I found one true saying that has guided me through my whole sales career, and is this: people buy people, not product. And I think if you can build that rapport, as you do quite well, you're always going to build relationships where people remember you every time you ring. And I remember when I was selling advertising for the Chamber of Commerce, the business people used to have a gatekeeper, and they were ferocious. They would not let you through. But I didn't let that bother me. I just kept asking how their day was. And as you said earlier, how's the dog? How's the kids? You build this relationship. And for 7 or 8 calls, she finally started to warm to me, and she goes, "He'll be in on Friday. I'll make sure I put you through." So by investing the time in building the rapport, I think you get a much, much better response. Something else you came out with, brutally honest. Now, you're not scared to tell people it is a sales call, are you?
Absolutely not. I'm proud of what I do, and I find honest with sales, honesty is the best policy. I'm not going to sell you a product that you aren't going to enjoy or that's not going to work for you, ever, because that only not cause it causes problems for yourself, but it'll cause problems for me in the future when you're unhappy and you're calling me up and going, this isn't working how you said it would, and like we don't want this. I had one the other day that they are not getting the right internet speeds that they're wanting in the office. So I said, okay, no problem. Here's a quote for something new, and something a bit different. And he said, no, I want this one, which was increasingly more expensive and wouldn't ever get the same megabits per second. And I had to say, I'm not going to sell you that. Because as much as it would be a fantastic payday for me, it's going to cause a number of problems down the line. You are not going to get the speeds that you want, and I'm prepared to lose that sale over it. If that is the case, maybe they're not the right customer for me. Maybe they'll come back in a few months' time after going away and buying that product from somewhere else and say, you know what, you were absolutely right. I should have listened to you. But for my own morals and my own integrity, I will always be honest in a sales call. Always. The first thing I do when I get through to that person that I need to speak to is, hey, this is a sales call. Just want to let you know. I just want to borrow 5 minutes of your time. I'm not going to sit and sell to you on this call. I just want to know about you and your business. Can I have some of your time? And I'd never ever shy away from the dreaded sales word. Okay, because if people are going to get we talked about that stigma. If people are going to lean on that and be like, I don't want a sales call, I'm not doing it, whatever it is, you're never going to get through to them. Never. Because you've got that stigma. You've got to be prepared to let it go and move on. So it is just, I try to be as honest as I possibly can. It keeps repeat customers. If I sell something into someone and they're like, I'm so glad you talked me out of that other idea because this is working perfectly. I'm going to save it 20 quid a month. Fantastic. I've done my job right. You're a happy customer. Wonderful. Let's get a testimonial. Let's show people how amazing that was, what we did, and the partnership that we had to get that done. That's all it is for me. It's honesty. I rest firmly on my morals with honesty, and just not shying away from the word sales.
Okay, lovely stuff. Well, so again, staying on the theme of prospecting, you mentioned you do cold calling, you do what I used to call walking and talking, walking into a business and just start talking to the first person you see. What brings you the most business? Or are there any other methods you use as well in your prospecting?
Yeah, so for me, it's still very much on the phones. It's where I've had a lot of success. But my secondary format is LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn and the way that social selling is going is the future. You see things on LinkedIn. The thing I love about LinkedIn is when you're bound to a company and you're sitting on calls and emails and whatever, you have to maintain a certain level of expectation of what the company wants from you, Yeah. So there has to be a sense of professionalism in there. There has to be, you are bound by some things. Luckily, VIPs are a little bit more lax than that. I do add my own spin onto a lot of things. So they do give me a lot of freedom with it, but I don't know if that's more for them or what, but we'll see. But LinkedIn is your own personal brand. And it's everybody else's own personal brand too. Chances are they're posting about the holiday they've just gone on, or they work from home and they've got the dog next to them, or there is so much information on LinkedIn and so much that you can do that we need to be utilizing it. I utilize LinkedIn so much. It's me, everything that I post on LinkedIn is me, from the terrible puns that I usually do at Christmas. If you see one of my Christmas posts, I apologize, but they are terrible. Or the stupid memes that I do. It's me, that's who I am as a person. And I get a lot of feedback from that, and a lot of people that do respond to my LinkedIn and see it, and I'm shooting out a few messages to prospects and saying, come chat to me, and they're seeing me, a glimpse of me as a person. And as we've discussed before, people buy from people.
Yeah.
I show them who I am on LinkedIn, and that gets me a lot more business than just sitting on the phones would do. You know, sitting on the phones, I can bang out loads of calls and stuff like that, but the conversion is usually a bit pants. When you're on LinkedIn and you are combing through and going, do you know what, they really click with who I'm like, and yeah, they definitely click with that. You're then combining and really molding the type of person that you want to be speaking to, and you can see what they are like, they can see what you are like, and it makes for a much more pleasant conversation because they feel like they see a part of you, they feel like they know you, and that's much easier than a cold call.
Developing a fit, as they used to call it.
Yes.
So when you're doing your presentations, is it easier in person so you can read body language, or does it not bother you and you're just as happy on a phone call, or do you do Zoom so you get a bit of both?
Predominantly, it's really adaptable to the type of customer I'm dealing with. Myself, I much prefer an in-person meeting, and an informal in-person meeting at that, you know, sitting around with a coffee and just a chat, and making it a little bit more casual than sitting there all suited and booted, you know, and having a presentation up on the screen. I like to have a conversation, and like you say, it's about reading body language, and you know, you get so much out of sitting in front of somebody and seeing the way that they are responding to what you're saying, you know, whether they are open body language and, you know, really interested, or you can see their eyes that glitch into the phone. You know, like you're like, right, okay,
to me.
Exactly, this is it. But you can see all of that in person. You can see, what are they looking at? Okay, they're looking at a bird out the window, they're probably bored. So you can get a lot out of an in-person meeting, and it's something that I prefer. Now, I can then switch to Zoom or Teams or whatever it is, and do a similar thing there as well. What I usually say is, you go grab a coffee. I'm just going to go make a coffee. Let's sit on a Teams meeting and just have a chat. In a similar to what I would do on an in-person meeting. So I can do that, and you can see people's body language through a screen, but only from here up. They might be sat in their pajama bottoms. We've all done it. Yes. But it definitely could happen. But sitting on a meeting like this, you can see that as well. You know, I'm a hand talker, as I'm sure you've seen. Yep. And seeing that in person can show you how passionate I am about what I'm talking about. You know, if I'm sat there, my hands are like this, I'm probably not interested in what I'm saying to you. Whereas if you can see my hands, you're like, you know what, she really, really believes in what she's saying. And people tend to trust you a little bit more. In terms of actually selling on the phone, I don't really enjoy, because I think people can be doing all sorts of bits. You can never see what they're doing. Phone calls to me are quick, simple, over and done with. You don't want to sit on the phone for half an hour and you know, be hoovering your house and have this woman in Hull trying to talk your ear off about mobile phones. You know, it's about having that dedicated time to me and seeing somebody and seeing their face and putting a face to a name, and that's where I see the most success.
Fantastic. What do you think are your key? Give me your top three skills, or your top three keys to success.
Oh, this is a tricky one. I would say, as we've discussed, honesty, being upfront, being brutally honest, you know, not selling something that you're not interested in, that's not going to work for them. You know, just saying it's a sales call, being so honest, it is a key for me. The second is, don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Don't be afraid of rejection. I know myself, back 6 years ago when I started in sales, I was terrified to pick up the phone, and terrified to get a no and hear what people had to say about the fact that I was calling. You are doing a job, and they probably have the same job that you do. Pick up the phone, don't be afraid, get it done. It's not as scary as you think. Pick the phone up, and you will come away and you'll go, wow,
That's awesome.
That was it. And then the third one for me is sales is a mindset game with yourself. You have to be in the right mindset to be able to sell. So the little things that we usually overlook, getting up in the morning with enough time, making the bed, having breakfast, getting yourself done up or comfy or however it is you like to work, sitting on the commute to work and having a podcast on or having your favourite music on, or sitting down, getting a coffee when you get to your desk, if you're a quote reader, go read a motivational quote of the day or whatever it is. Get yourself into the right mindset. These are small, tiny things that we really overlook, but they do the world of good. If I wake up late, chances are my day is down from the start. I'm constantly rushing. I'm trying to get to work on time. I get to work, I'm all flustered. Nothing seems to be working right. I can't log onto my laptop and I'm running around ragged. And then I've got a morning meeting that I'm a bit late for, and it has an effect. If you start from the very moment you get up to the very moment you go to sleep, you are going to be in such a good mindset and happy people sell more and get that smile on your face. Even if you are not feeling 100%, give 100%. And that smile that you've got plastered on your face, because it does show through your voice, people can hear it on the phone, that smile that you've got plastered on your face will become reality.
It's infectious.
It is, exactly. And the more you smile, the more the people around you smile. And the sales team you've got at the office, they're all smiling and selling more, and boss is happy because the company is selling. It goes, and that started with you. So get yourself in that mindset of today's going to be a good day. Look at all the things I've done. I'm clean, I'm tidy, I'm happy, I'm fresh. Let's go out and smash it. And we're doing this on a Monday, okay, guys?
True.
Yeah, exactly. Start to the week, start it off fresh, feel good about it, and it'll do numbers for you.
How do you cope with rejection? Because you're such a bubbly person. You've got a great personality. What happens when you get a no, and then the 5th no, and the 8th no? What do you do? How do you cope with that?
So it's taken me a while. I haven't always been like this, but it's taken me a while to get over that fear of rejection and that stab to the heart every no that happens. The more that it does,
It's a bit drastic, isn't it? A stab to the heart.
It's not, because especially when you are providing for a family or whatever it is, and you're not having a very good month in commission, or you've just had a bad day or whatever it is, those no's can really be detrimental. And I know I used to take it really, really personally, and I'd go home and I'd be like, I've just had a bad day and whatever. But for me now, it's put up a wall. Okay, you make the call doesn't go your way, they're not interested, they weren't the customer for you. Forget the call, put the wall up, onto the next. And keep going and persist. And you're going to have days where you call, 50 people, and every single one of no's. It's the joy of sales, okay? You're going to get no's. You are not for everybody, and everybody is not for you. Try not to take it personally. It's nothing that you've done. Maybe it's just not the right solution for them, or maybe you didn't click right with them because you're just two different people. I'm very bubbly, and it can be a tricky time to find somebody that can handle me on a sales call. Okay, so it's sometimes that's just the way the world works, and then maybe I will pass that lead to somebody else in my office who's maybe a little bit more reserved than me and will work better, and they might land that lead. So it's not necessarily anything you've done, it's not necessarily anything the company does, it's just they may be having a bad day. You don't know what's going on in their life. Maybe their cat ran away, maybe we don't know. We don't know what's happened in their life that day to make them feel a bit pants. Don't take it personally. We have no idea why they've said no. Put the wall up, onto the next. Put the wall up, onto the next. If you're feeling a little bit bogged down with it, take 5 minutes away. Take 5 minutes, go on your smoke break, go grab yourself a coffee, just go sit in the kitchen, scream in the toilets if you so wish, have that time away and just know when to go, I need a minute.
Fantastic.
And that's going to be a big key point of getting over that fear of rejection.
Excellent. Well, I've got to thank you so much for your time this morning. Is there anything you would like to cover before we wrap this up? Is there anything you'd like to say? Any project you're working on you might want help with?
Just for me, it's if you get the chance to check the VIP group out, please do. If you're a business that's looking for anything business communication related, from mobiles to VoIP to broadband to energy, solar, anything like that, come chat to me. There may be something we can help you out with, maybe save you a little bit of money. Go look at our website, LinkedIn, come talk to me, anything. And yeah, we'll pick up the phone.
Well, Tova, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Take care of yourself. Bye now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.